Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the Django Foundation series. In this video, we are going to discuss how to write our own models, migrate it, and do some operations through the admin panel. So let's get started. To write our first model, let's go into our blog app and open the models.py file. Inside the models.py, we are going to write our models. So now before we get started with writing models, here's just a footnote about what an actual model is. So in terms of Python, a model is essentially a class with the model name that defines what the database table essentially looks like. So every attribute inside the class represents the column in the database table. So if you're not accustomed to how a SQL database works, etc., I recommend you going to Khan Academy and watching their entire SQL series. It's one of the best series on learning SQL and relational databases. In short, a SQL database is simply like an Excel sheet with rows and columns, each column representing a type of data, and each row is an entry in the database. So now we are going to represent each column using an attribute in our class. So the first model that I'm going to write is the blog post model, which is essentially part of my microblog. So to write the blog post model, I'm just going to start typing class, the name of the model, which is blog post, and I have to inherit from models.model to be able to access some features that are already available inside the models that is imported from Django. Let's start writing the attributes. The first attribute my blog is going to have is the title. So I'm going to say title equal to, and on the right hand side of each attribute, I'm going to define what data type it is going to be of. So to define the data type, we have to import it or like use it as a submodule of the models that we've imported. So I'm going to say models.character field is char field, and then I can define the max length of my title to be 100 characters. Then apart from the title, I want my blog to also have some content, so I'm going to say models.text field, and then I also want to know when the blog was created, so I'm going to add a field called created, and this one is going to be of date time field. So each date time field can also have some certain features, like whenever an instance of a blog post is created, it should automatically update it, right? So we can do that by passing a parameter called auto now add equal to true. So what this is going to do is whenever a new row is created, the created column will get updated with whatever is the date time at that point of time. So this is all about our models. So now to use this model, we have to essentially migrate it to the database. Writing a model inside models.py does not essentially reflect in our database. So we need to take two steps to make this available in our database. So to do that, let's first execute python manage.py make migrations. So what this is going to do is this is going to first create the commands that will essentially translate the Python class into the SQL commands. So by doing python manage.py make migration, it is going to create some file in our migrations folder, which is currently empty. As you can see, it only has init.py. But when I run make migration, it is going to create the first migrations file. And we're going to take a look at it in a minute. So let me just go back and run this command. And when you run this, it should easily recognize that I actually created a blog post model. So you can see that the command first it's trying to do is create model blog post. So now if I go back and actually look at the migrations folder, you can see there is a 0001 initial.py. If I open it, it has now created a migration command, which is migrations.create model, and it has added fields ID, title, content, and created. So from this thing, we can also observe that we did not define ID, but Python or Django essentially has already automatically has defined ID, and it's an auto field. That means it will auto increment whenever a new row gets added, which is usually also called the primary key, and that has also been reflected here as primary key equal to true. So now I need to essentially execute this command, which is migrations.create model. To execute this operation, database operation, I have to go to my command prompt and simply execute python manage.py migrate. So when I do this, it will apply the blog 0001 initial migration that we just saw, and it will give us an OK status. Now once it's executed, it will be reflected in our database. But we are not done yet. If you want to see what has been already created, we will have to be able to access it through the admin panel. So to do that, I have to go to my admin.py, first import the model. So I'm going to say from blog.models, import the name, which is blog post, and then register this through to my admin. So I will register it to the admin that has been imported here. So I'm going to say admin.site.register and simply pass the blog post instance to it. So once I pass the blog post instance to this, it is going to go and reflect in my admin panel. So I'm just going to get rid of this comment, save this, go to my command prompt, python manage.py, and run the server. As I run the server and then go visit the admin panel, I can look at the blog post that has been here. So to just tell you what admin.py does, so if I go back to my admin.py and comment this out, save it, and come back, if I refresh, you will notice that that entire blog post model disappears from my admin panel. So that is what it does. So essentially registering it enables it in our admin panel. So if I refresh it back, it should appear it. So now I can come here and start adding blog post to my site. So you can say my first blog post and write some content here in my content, and you'll notice that the created field does not exist here in the form, largely because it has been said auto now add. So whenever I click save, whatever is the date and time when I click save will be saved in the created field. So I'm just going to add a new blog post with my first blog post and some content. I'll save it, and that's about it. That's it, as simple as adding new things to my database. And this is a good thing about Django, is that I can easily write a model, migrate it, and then start accessing, reading, writing, updating. So I can even go back to this post and edit this easily. So I can add some more content and save it again. So this is the beauty of Django. So we didn't essentially have to do a lot, and we didn't even write all of these templates or HTML pages where all of this is happening, and Django gives this all inbuilt to us. This was the first one of the most fascinating things when I was learning Django, is that I didn't have to do everything. So now you can add more blog posts. I'm just going to add my second blog post. So I just need some amount of content to start playing around with it later. So I'm just going to add some content. And to plug some content here, I'm going to use the lorem ipsum site. So lorem ipsum is essentially a content generator. It just generates a couple of paragraphs for you. So I can go generate lorem ipsum and give me random paragraphs. So I'll just copy a few paragraphs, go back to my blog post, paste it there, and save it. So now I got 2 blog posts. Now another interesting thing is that in my blog post here, in the admin panel here, I'm going to see this as blog post object 1, blog post object 2, instead of generally what we're expecting the title of the blog post to be seen, right? The reason is because we have not explicitly told Django what we need to see. We've just simply defined the model and seen it in the admin panel. And Django will essentially simply return the ID of the post, right? So you can see blog post object 1, 2. If you actually want to return the title, we have to explicitly do so in the models.py. So let's go to models.py, and it accepts a method called double underscore str double underscore. So we're going to define that. So define double underscore str double underscore. This is the function that gets called whenever it has to be returning an instance, right? So I'm going to say self, which means pass the entire instance of the object, and then I'm going to return self.title. So if I define this and I come back to my admin panel and refresh, you can notice that instead of those object 1 to the ID, it has now started returning the title of the blog post. And this should essentially give us a good hang as to how to create a model, migrate it, and access it from our admin panel.